Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. So those that have been watching the Contenders series this weekend may have seen a lot of heroes and strategies coming out to play. These are the top tier of pro players essentially before the Overwatch League gets started, maybe different iterations when it happens, but we even saw the Orisa Torbjorn strategy come out with Renegades. But in this video I want to talk about the actual return of triple tanks into the competitive scene. Now this is probably going to be bad news for a lot of people, or good news depending on what you play, but it's important for a few reasons, and it's also quite good news for a number of reasons as well. I can already see that some of you might be panicking about the fact that triple tank now has returned. It might be in the staple composition that it was for several months, much like it was this time last year. But we have got some reasons why you shouldn't panic at the sight of triple tanks, but instead welcome it in. Triple tanks came out a few times during Contenders at the weekend. The first notable instance we witnessed was the triple tank composition of Reinhardt, D.Va and Zarya from Envision when they were playing FNRG F8. The map was King's Row, and the reason we saw it was to deal with Buds' Junkrat. King's Row is of course a very close spaced map at the start of it at least, and it's a point that Junkrat relishes on. The Reinhardt was there to obviously stop some of the incoming damage with his shield, D.Va could defense matrix it, and Zarya could turn some of that grenade damage against Junkrat, build up some charge, and do a decent amount of damage herself. Unfortunately, it didn't really go well for Envision, and he ended up losing the point, but the main use of triple tank in this situation was to negate some of the Junkrat damage coming in. So the main reason not to panic was that triple tank in this instant didn't work, but the main use of triple tanks came from when both sides used it from FaZe Clan and Kungana. Both teams ran triple tank in multiple iterations on several scenarios. It wasn't necessarily to deal with just a Junkrat or a Pharah, for example. Both teams were running it into each other on very tight maps, such as Oasis University, Sanctum Nepal, and also King's Row as well. So not only was it used for sort of niche strategies of dealing with Junkrat, for example, but it also had other uses if they could play around it. But here's why you shouldn't panic. D.Va was one of the big parts of a triple tank lineup, and she was one of the reasons why triple tanks way back when felt so awful, because she had a lot of damage negation with a defense matrix and a lot of armor herself. But of course D.Va is getting nerfed tomorrow, so most likely this kind of strategy with D.Va included may drop. Of course I know what you said, why are you talking about triple tanks if D.Va's going to get nerfed then? Like, what's the point of this video? Well, whether or not D.Va with 25% less matrix, at least I think that's the maths, will drop at all in the pro scene is kind of up in the air, but it certainly makes the strategy weaker in a lot of scenarios, meaning that D.Va can still be ran with it and can still do a lot, but it's just not going to be as strong as it has been in the past. But another reason to not panic is that it really didn't show up that often. Dive was a predominant playstyle in this game, but then even then, you look at the competitive games that you have, regardless of whether you're down in silver, bronze, all the way up to GM, dive isn't the main thing that people are playing. It wasn't like season 5 where it was just constantly dive. You can still play the likes of Reinhardt, more deathball-y teams with Zarya, Roadhog, who we'll get onto in a second, but there is a real element in competitive play where you can play what you want, and that does include a triple tank lineup if that's your way inclined. So in the current setting, what the pro players are doing at the moment doesn't really dictate any level of competitive play in your own competitive games. It's worth adding that this will change as the season progresses. People work out what to play, and then you start having this situations of triple tank predominantly, dive predominantly, all of these weird lineups that you see sort of taking over. But is that going to be triple tank, I hear you ask? What is the popularity going to be with these strategies? Is it going to become incredibly viable across all the levels to the point that nobody plays anything else other than triple tank? Possibly. It does rely on two other things though, which both dictate how the meta is going to go. Junkrat remaining as popular as he currently is a big way that we might see the triple tanks of Reinhardt, D.Va, Zarya come back to deal with some of the damage and some of the problems. It's relatively straightforward to run, and it can really deal with some of the damage coming in on your team through maps like Temple of Anubis, where Junkrat can be a real pain in the ass to deal with. The other thing has to do with Pharmacy. With Mercy getting buffed as well, or at least reworked, Pharmacy's popularity will probably go up. It's another trash damage kind of hero that free tanks can absorb and deal with. It's not as strong as Junkrat due to the high vertical movement that Mercy and Pharah do have, and it also lacks a lot of range with a triple tank setup, but it's still good at persevering through the incoming damage and breaking through chokes with relative ease. But the ideal thing that I want people to take away from this video is that triple tank is a viable thing. It's made a reappearance, and it's a good thing to try and play in your own games. It has its merits in certain team situations, but most importantly, it also has its weaknesses. There was a nice period of a previous season, I can't remember when it was, maybe season 4, season 3, where teams would come together and say, oh, do you want to try dive this? Do you want to run triple tank? What do you want to do? And all strats were viable back then, and they do seem viable now. Dive's been run, triple tanks has been run, deathball, rushdown, all of these kinds of things have their pros and cons, and they're being run to counter certain compositions. Triple tanks has got a rotten reputation of being a no skill and bland and boring lineup that you can play, and also that everybody else was running it, but honestly, the tanks have been having a rough time recently, so it's a really nice way that people that play Zarya, Roadhog, and of course Reinhardt have a composition that really favors them. You have the Reinhardt Reinhardt versus Reinhardt mind games that people relish on, the Roadhog getting those important picks, Zarya getting high charge and then killing stuff. It does have its elements of play that it can succeed at, but also has its weaknesses as well, with just how sluggish it is. That does bring us on to Roadhog, who I said I wanted to talk about a little bit, who has actually appeared in the tournament a few times and wasn't a mean pick. We did actually see some players doing some good amount of work on it. The role that Roadhog plays in this team is just like we kind of guessed it would be. It's been an absolute brute to move off the point, whilst you can't really get those one-shot picks anymore. If you're on the same level as your team and communicating well, you can grab a player and all of you can deal with him, and that's what we saw a lot of in Roadhog in the past. Not as much emphasis on his hook combo anymore, but could still put out a shed load of damage and be a real bitch to move off the point. For the first time in a while, I'm excited to see how things go and potentially curious to see how the pros utilize these strategies as they have in the past. Lots of heroes have their strong suits now. Not all of them are viable, but a good amount can work currently. All of the DPS options, for example, work a lot. Defense heroes are always going to be in that tricky spot, but now triple tanks are making a strong return in the current meta, but it looks like its popularity is only scenario based, which is good, and it won't take over the game like it has done in the past. So ultimately, you have a nice balance of where it's been used, and for those that do play a lot of tanks such as myself, you have a good opportunity to shine in those situations. Maybe try it out in your own games, let us know how you get on. Thank you very much for watching, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Do let me know what you think of triple tank. I imagine the general consensus is going to be, oh no, it's back, I really don't want it to be here, but honestly, I think it's in a good spot. Let me know what you think below though, and until next time, take care, we'll see you then.